Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, and this is The Vobe Show. And while The Vobe Show is no longer doing live shows just through the summer, and we'll be back, by the way, in the autumn, I thought I would do a number of these recordings. You saw one yesterday, maybe, and I'm going to be talking about various different subjects. I want to explore the opposite of what I explore in The Bald Explorer. In The Bald Explorer, my sister's station, you'll see that we're on a quest for England, a quest for all that's good. I often make the phrase, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, inasmuch as by looking back, maybe there are some very interesting things that we could use today which would be very useful. For example, I heard that in Germany people are buying wood-burning stoves because they can't get the fuel at the kind of cheap rates that they've been used to because of the war with Ukraine and Russia, and the main feed of fuel comes from Russia. So people are rushing out to buy their wood-burning stoves, and apparently the cost of timber has gone through the roof because of the huge demand. And in fact, some of these wood-burning stoves, so that people can cook and heat their houses and boil up their water, etc., are now not available until the middle of next year. So I'm very pleased that I've actually got my old-fashioned Essie, which is the thing that I cook with, and I heat the house, and I heat the water, and I can dry my clothes with it and cook my food. So it has all these multiple purposes. And it is local fuel. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm buying it locally, and it puts it back into the local economy, which I think is very good, rather than buying from some of the big six, etc. So sometimes I think there are things in the past which are useful in today. Now, but I want to do the opposite in these little chats, and lovely Julia will be with me in some of the chats, and we'll discuss things, but it may not be an everyday thing. I'm just going to put these up as and when I've got 5 minutes or so to record them. So hopefully you will enjoy all of that. Now, so what do I mean? I mean, at the moment, you keep hearing in the media that things are not good in this country, that things are going down. A lot of people are complaining that the government isn't doing a good job. We've got a cost of living crisis. We're trying to pay our bills, and we've had the government hand out some money in order to help people pay their bills because of one thing and another. But I want to know why. Why is England broken? Why is Great Britain in this situation? The reason I ask that is when I was a kid growing up, I remember watching programs like Tomorrow's World. Do you remember Tomorrow's World? Perhaps you're too young to remember it. It was a program on the BBC in the 1960s and 70s that predicted the technology that would be here in the future, and it was showing you some of the early developments. I remember them testing out the old mobile phone, and somebody would be in one place and another person would be another, and they could actually make that first mobile phone telephone call, which is incredible. And here we take it for granted that we can do that. Not only that, of course, there was the internet coming. We had no idea that this was going to be a thing, that we could send messages, etc. I remember them demonstrating back then the CD-ROMs were coming. A CD, you could play music or watch a video on a DVD, and the great thing was it was scratch-proof and dirt-proof. And they demonstrated this, I seem to remember, by shoving a whole load of jam or marmalade onto the DVD or CD-ROM, and then cleaning it off again and shoving it into the machine, and there it was working perfectly. A technology that we've almost forgotten today because everything is so digital, and yet it came, it went, a bit like cassette tapes. You know, this technology, this sort of weird analog technology that had some digital thing, the CD-ROM, the way it burnt the image into a CD, but now we don't even bother to use that. I guess some people still do. You watch their DVDs, but the quality, of course, is not. I mean, what happened to Blu-ray? That was a thing that was supposed to be fantastic, but a technology that seems to have been a flash in the pan. So this program was telling us also that life was going to be simple, that we were going to have more leisure time, that robots were going to do much more of it. I guess they were talking about physical robots and not AI. I don't know. I don't know whether AI actually is something that I'm particularly interested in having. The CCTVs looking at you, money disappearing, and everything on your mobile phone now telling you where you are and what you're doing, and somebody in central office somewhere is able to actually tap in and find out everything about you. We all know that everything you do on the internet is records are kept of what you've been looking at. If people need to know, they can easily find out. It's a very scary world that we're living in. But I'm not so much interested in that in this discussion. I want to know why it is, as we hear, you can't get an appointment with a GP, or you can no longer see your bank manager, unless, of course, you've got several £1,000,000 into in the account, and then I dare say you can appoint a bank manager. You see, when I was a young man, I set up my business for the very first time. I actually had a bank manager. You could go along to see him, and his name was Mark somebody or other, and you were on first names. I was on first names terms with this chap. Now, of course, a few years before my time, it would have been a bit more sober affair, sort of suited and booted. Mr. Jones, hello, Mr. Jones, and what do you want the money for? But you could go in, I could see my bank manager, I could tell him about my business. I'm an entertainer, I'm an actor, and I want to do this, and I need the money for that. I remember that in this front room, this master bedroom that is now the studio in my Victorian house, the roof was collapsing, and we needed an emergency loan to put in an RSJ going across to save the roof from collapsing. And I went in, saw the bank manager, and he very kindly said, "Yes, okay, I'll lend you £3,000, and these are the terms on paying it back." And he understood how much I was earning, and he knew that what kind of work I did, and that it was seasonal, and sometimes a lot of money would come in and sometimes nothing would come in, and that I would have to eke the money from the good days over the bad days. He knew my business, and so things was very easy, and I felt that I was a valued customer. I don't feel that I'm a valued customer anymore. I haven't actually had a loan from the bank, fortunately, for many, many years. In fact, I don't borrow money at all if I can help it. If I haven't got the money, I don't buy it, basically. But that's another thing. I don't want to get into debt. It means that my credit rating is probably 0, and they probably wouldn't lend any money to me now anyway, which is a strange thing, because I haven't borrowed any money, therefore I've not paid any back, but I've not been in debt. And it's a weird thing that if you haven't been in debt, they don't know whether you're able to do it. But in the old days, you could see your bank manager, you could discuss this, and he would base his opinion and his decision with you, and you could understand it. You didn't have to ring a call centre. You didn't have to just put online information that you had no idea who was looking at it. It was a human decision, not a computer decision. And I feel that that's not been very helpful. I liked having a bank manager, and I asked myself, why can't I have one now? And it seems that the bank, of course, said, well, this is like going back, 15, nearly 20 years. They said, no, we're going to streamline all of this so that we don't have to employ so many people. We don't have to have so many branches. And you just ring up a call centre, or now, of course, you just do it online. It's supposed to be very useful and easy for the customer. But actually, I think it was more easy and more profitable for the bank. And I thought to myself, what's changed? Why are we in this situation? Surely, we've got more people and more customers for the bank, and they are overwhelmed. Well, if they've got more customers, presumably they're making more profit. They could actually have more branches. They could have more bank managers. They could actually have more people seeing these bank managers and talking about their financial affairs, and perhaps many more people wouldn't find themselves getting into so much strife, because there would be somebody there who knows about money to help you, to guide you, to keep you on the even keel. And that would be great, rather than just thinking, oh, I instantly want this, I've been told I can have it, let's put a thing on, and oh dear, because I had a CCG some sometime in the past, or because I haven't borrowed any money for a long time, my credit rating is low and I can't do it. I want to speak to somebody, and I don't understand why that's not a thing anymore. Same with GPs. Go and see your doctor. Oh no, we can't see the doctor. Okay, we've had a pandemic, supposedly, and the GPs who turned everybody away during the pandemic because they were so frightened of COVID has now in a situation where they're overrun and nobody can get to see a doctor. You've got to ring them up at 8:30. This is a ludicrous thing. Ring up your doctor. You're not feeling very well. You want to go and see the doctor. You've got to ring up at 8:30 in the morning, and if there's somebody else has rung up at 8:30 in the morning, and in fact 500 other people generally are ringing up at 8:30 in the morning, that's it. If you haven't got through within the 10 minutes, it's tough. Ring again tomorrow, which case you might actually be dead. When I was a kid, and when my children were born, we had a doctor, a family doctor. You could go and see the doctor. He understood your family. You recognised him. He recognised you. He knew stuff about you, just like the bank manager. And he was interested, or at least he made it look like he was interested in you. You felt a valued member of the community and you respected your doctor. Now you're lucky if you know who the doctor is going to be. You feel like you're just a number. You're just one of those people hanging on the phone. I wonder if I can get an appointment, which is very strange, because the same thing, if with more people in your community, because more people have either moved in or it's grown, there's more houses, there's more infrastructure, there's more of this. Why isn't there more doctors? I don't understand. Why have we not gone, oh, there's more people in this community. Clearly, we need a few more doctors. So the old systems seem to work. I just don't understand why it's not working today. Why can't we have double, triple the amount of doctors? Why have the doctors disappeared? What have we done to make them disappear? It can't just be that the old set of doctors have grown up and died. Why are people not wanting to be family doctors? Is it the way that doctors are run? Is it the way that we don't have enough time with each one? Or is it that it's just not cost effective to see the patients anymore? I don't understand. This is why sometimes looking back and saying, actually, those ways of doing things are still good. So as I say, in these videos, I want to ask, why are we broken? Not the fact that that in the past it was just good, but I want to know why we're not doing better things. We're supposed to be a sophisticated, cultivated society. And yet, for some reason, we just seem to be almost being incredibly disrespectful to the people who live here, our communities, as if we're being pushed away by all the authority figures. You can't see your bank manager in person. You can't see the doctor of your choice anymore. The dentists are too busy. Everything's gone private and nobody wants to see you, or when they do, it's got to be on these terms. What has gone wrong and why? I want to discuss that, and if you've got any points, do put them in the comments. It'd be fascinating to know, and try and get some sort of answers out of this. So there you go. I hope I've put the cat amongst the pigeons. I hope this has not been too political, too boring. I want to know why the country is broken when it shouldn't be, because we are, all in all, very clever people. We're, as I said, sophisticated, cultivated, urbane, and yet for some reason, society isn't working. But why? What is the reason? Let's see if we can find an answer. I'll be back on an ad hoc basis here on The Vobe Show, coming up with these questions, and I'm looking to you, my lovely audience, to know if you can suggest the answers. Till next time, bye.